Thought for the day. Nourish yourself in a way that helps you to blossom in the direction that you want to go.
Welcome to 7 Minutes for Yourself. I'm Christina, and I'm so glad you've joined me for what I believe will be 7 of the most enriching minutes of your day. Let's take this time to reconnect with ourselves and improve our well-being.
In today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself, we are continuing from yesterday on our self-talk journey by discussing how to shape our inner dialogue to develop a winner's attitude. Let's continue.
So, with regard to positive visualization, see yourself as you desire. Remember we said earlier, see yourself enjoying the success that you want. See yourself as you desire. And what will happen is your subconscious mind will say, well, this must be a command. This must be what you want. So it goes to work and it coordinates your words, actions, thoughts, activities, emotions, and so on, so that they're consistent with achieving and bringing that mental picture into your reality. If you interview successful people, it's a very interesting thing. If you interview successful people and you ask them on a regular basis, what do you think about? What are you thinking about now? You'll find that successful people are always thinking constructive, positive, creative thoughts that help them to be more successful. And if you interview negative people who aren't doing very much with their lives, you ask them what are they thinking about? They're always thinking about negative, hurtful, destructive, angry, resentful, worried thoughts. And surprise, surprise, the more they think about them and worry about them, the more they draw them into their lives. Be careful. Your mind is very, very powerful. And finally, the third part of positive visualization is to feed your mind continually. Feed your mind continually. Feed your mind on a regular basis, the way you would feed your body with a special kind of foods. Feed your mind with pictures consistent with what you want. Just before you go to bed at night, visualize and see your ideal situation the coming day. See yourself performing at your best. See yourself living your ideal lifestyle. When you feed that picture into your mind just before you go to sleep, what happens is your subconscious and your superconscious goes to work on it all night long. Very, very powerful technique. One of the most powerful of all for success. Now, the next technique, number 3, is positive mental food. Just as we said, and we're talking about mental food in a way, but just as we said before, that you become what you think about. If I were to say to you, oh, there's a remarkable discovery. Did you know that you become what you eat? That your food determines your physical health? If I were to say that to you, you'd say, oh, give me a break, Brian. Everybody knows you become what you eat. The problem is we just don't eat the things that we should. Positive mental food is exactly the same. You become what you think about most of the time. In other words, your whole life today, everything around you has been determined by what you think about most of the time. You've attracted this into your life. You've attracted your relationship. You've determined your income by what you think about most of the time. Now, if you think about positive, constructive, success-oriented, happy things, you start to have more of those in your life. If you think about movies and television and sports and wasting your time and socializing, well, you'll have a lot of those in your life, but you won't have anything else. Remember, whatever you think about most of the time crowds the other things out of your life. So, in becoming what you think about, what do you feed your mind on a regular basis? And this is not something that you are casual about. You must be very, very deliberate and feed your mind a diet of mental protein, of highly nutritious words, pictures, quotes, magazines, television, audio tapes, books, newspapers, and so on. The average person, when you look at what they read, the average person reads sensational, negativistic, violent garbage. In fact, they tried to publish a newspaper on several occasions that only had good news in it, and the newspaper failed. Do you know why it failed? It's because the great majority of people wouldn't buy a newspaper that did not have dreadful stories of dreadful things happening to innocent people. Your job is to ask yourself when you look at a book, is this going to help you in some way? Let me ask you a question. What do you think would happen to you if you read a whole lot of horror books, or a whole lot of murder books, or a whole lot of violence books? What do you think would happen to you if you read these books all the time? Do you think it would affect your mind? You bet your bit it would affect your mind. What do successful people read? They read books that are positive and constructive and success-oriented and uplifting and educational and motivational. If you read all the negative stories in newspapers day after day after day, you get the idea, by the way, that our whole society is falling apart. If you read negative stories in magazines, you get the same thing. Things that you feed into your mind have such an enormous impact on your mind. Make sure that what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're hearing is consistent with what you want to accomplish.
That concludes today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself. Please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. Today and every day with your kiddo is a gift. Enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in.